Hello, dear students. Welcome back to our news channel. Students, today's episode is a fascinating one. We are going to talk about something that affects every single person from the moment they are born to the moment they leave the world. Okay, so yes, today we are asking the question, are births and deaths being properly registered in India? Now, you might think this is simple. A baby is born, a death occurs, someone writes it down, right? But what if I told you that millions of these life events are not even officially recorded? And that's what we are going to understand in this episode. Why this happens, what the government is doing about it, and why it matters to you and me. Okay, so let's begin. Now, let's start with a basic question. What is birth and death registration, and why is it important? Students, when a baby is born, the hospital or family is supposed to report the birth to the government. Okay, and then what happens, government issues a birth certificate which becomes the official proof of your date of birth, your parents, and your identity. So in similar manner, when a person dies, the family or the hospital must report the death. The government does the government, then what it does, it issues a death certificate, which is necessary for things like property transfer, bank settlements, and many more such things. Now, here's the twist. If these events are not registered, it's like they never officially happened. And that's a big problem. Why? Because it affects government planning, people's rights, and national records. Okay, so what actually happened recently? Why are we discussing this? See, on March 17, 2024, the Registrar General of India, or simply RGI, issued an important circular. Okay, RGI, Registrar General of India, it works under the Ministry of Homes. It works under the Home Ministry. Okay, and it looks after the country's vital statistics, that's data about births, deaths, infant mortality, and so on, right? So in the circular, what was mentioned, the RGI, that is Registrar General of India, warned that many hospitals, both private and government, were not reporting births and deaths within 21 days, which is the legal limit time. Okay, so RGI found that around 10% of births and deaths are not getting registered in India. They're, I mean, they are happening, but they are still not being registered at all. So let that sink in. If 10 out of every 100 births are unregistered, it means millions of children are growing up without a proper identity on paper. Yes, so that is what it means. Okay, and what does the law say? We have a law, okay, which is related to birth and death registration. It's called Registration of Birth and Death Act 1969. Okay, Registration of Birth and Death Act 1969. And it is also called RBD Act. Okay, which makes it compulsory to register every birth and death in the country. And this law was amended into 2023. अमेंडमेंट का मतलब क्या होता है कि उसमें चेंजेस इंट्रोड्यूस किए गए, और चेंजेस क्या क्यों लेकर आए, क्योंकि उसको स्ट्रिक्ट बनाने के लिए. नाउ एनी नेग्लिजेंस बाय रजिस्ट्रार, रजिस्ट्रार कौन होता है, दैट्स द ऑफिशियल हु रिकॉर्ड दीज इवेंट्स. he or she can be fined up to 10,000. Okay, so earlier the fine was just 50 rupees. Yes, पहले फाइन सिर्फ 50 रुपीज का था, लेकिन अब उसको इंक्रीज करके 10,000 कर दिया गया है. Also, under this updated law, digital birth and death certificates are now centralized. ओके, दे आर नाउ सेंट्रलाइज। सेंट्रलाइज का मतलब क्या होता है कि अब जो भी होगा वो नेशनल पोर्टल है, नेशनल डेटाबेस, उसमें सारा कुछ स्टोर होगा। ओके, सो दे आर क्रिएटेड थ्रू अ नेशनल पोर्टल एंड एवरी डेटा इज स्टोर्ड इन अ नेशनल डेटाबेस. So it's like India is trying to build one big master record of every person ever born or died in the country, and that's a good thing. Okay, now who registers such events? So let's just understand like how the system actually works. Okay, so in India we have a system called Civil Registration System. Okay, CRS. We have civil registration system. It is controlled by RGI only. RGI control करता है. Now under CRS, government hospitals are given the responsibility to act as registrar. Okay, government hospitals, they have the responsibility to act as registrars. That means that they must report births and deaths that happen in their hospital. किसी भी हॉस्पिटल में जो बर्थ और डेथ हुई है उसका रिपोर्ट करना उनको मैंडेटरी है. प्राइवेट हॉस्पिटल्स ऑन द अदर हैंड आर supposed to report the events in their jurisdiction to the registrar so that certificates can be issued to the family. Okay, so private hospitals, they don't have registrar powers, but they are supposed to report the event to the local registrar office. Okay, तो गवर्नमेंट हॉस्पिटल में क्या है कि दे कैन एक्ट एज रजिस्ट्रार. मतलब दे मस्ट रिपोर्ट बर्थ्स एंड डेथ्स दैट हैपन इन देयर हॉस्पिटल्स. प्राइवेट हॉस्पिटल के पास हालांकि रजिस्ट्रार पावर नहीं है, लेकिन इनको इवेंट रिपोर्ट करना है कहां पर? लोकल रजिस्ट्रार ऑफिस में. बट हियर्स द कैच, मेनी प्राइवेट हॉस्पिटल्स डोंट फॉलो दिस प्रोसेस प्रॉपरली. समटाइम्स they ask the family to go and register the event themselves, and some hospitals wait for the family to approach them instead of reporting it proactively. So this causes confusion, delays, and underreporting. Okay. So who does it differently? See, different states in India handle this in different ways. For example, in Assam, Punjab, Odisha, and Andaman Nicobar, the health department registers births and deaths. In Kerala में क्या होता है? It's the Panchayat department. Similarly, in Bihar, it's the Economics and Statistics Department. So, registration is not something you can say uniform across the country. And this adds to the confusion and inconsistency. That's why the 2023 amendment made it mandatory for all state registrars to share data with the central government so that we can have a national level database. एक national level database होगा जहां पे सारा कुछ, सारी information is stored. Okay, so what the new portal is all about? Now a new centralized digital portal is there for birth and death certificates. So it's effective from October 1 2023, and the from from this date, digital birth certificates are now the only document. Yes, they are now the only document accepted as proof of date of birth. Okay, so this certificate is now used for many things. See, you can ask your parents when you first time applied for school admission, your parents might have given birth certificate, right? So now this digital date of birth certificate is now being used for school and college admissions, applying for government jobs, marriage registration, passport, and many such things. Okay, and the data from this system is also used for other official government process, like updating the NPR, National Population Register, National Population Register, ration cards, voter rolls, and even possibly for the National Register of Citizens. Okay, so that is what this data will be utilized. Now, this is not just a boring formality. Okay, it's connected to your future in so many ways. But like I said, uh, there are certain gaps as well. Okay, there are certain problems that still remain. Why? Because some registrar, they are just careless. They don't issue certificates on time. Okay, so that is the problem. And और क्या क्या concerns हैं कि some hospitals they don't report data, especially private ones, and some families they are also not aware, okay, that they need to register it within 21 days. And finally, the national data is outdated. Okay. So did you know that last Vital Statistics of India report was published in the year 2020? कितना 5 साल हो गए अब. Okay. So states like Kerala have published reports up to 2021, but most others haven't updated theirs. So that means we are missing the recent data. कौन सा recent data? किसके regarding recent data? अरे जो infant mortality है, stillbirths है, death rates है, all of which are crucial for public health planning. Okay, so we don't have the recent data as of now, right? So what can be done? See, हॉस्पिटल सबसे पहले तो रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी हॉस्पिटल्स की आती है दैट दे नीड टू रिपोर्ट दैट दे मस्ट रिपोर्ट births and deaths on time. Okay, they must report births and deaths on time. Registrars should be held accountable and fined if there's any kind of delay. Lastly, government must ensure transparency and data sharing across states. And talking about students, yes, you can also help by talking about this at home with friends or during social studies discussions, because understanding how a country keeps track of its people, it is the first step towards becoming an active citizen. All right, so that's all for today's episode, students. I hope you learned something new and important. Remember, a well informed person is a powerful person. Okay? So until next time, stay curious, stay aware, and keep asking questions. Bye bye.